In a little while, you'll be seeing I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally. They put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words, talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said, they didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said.
I'm curious what academic agent thinks of this one, because he really enjoyed that. Ofcom has the power to tell websites from the United States like 4chan or Kiwi Farms what to do. And now you have the United States basically doing exactly what I suggested. Telling the BBC what they can and can't air. I mean, it's tit for tat, right? It's American sovereignty. If the United Kingdom thinks it can dictate to 4chan what it can and can't post, then surely the United States government can also dictate to British corporations what they can and can't air. But let's see what this is all about. Why is Donald Trump upset? Well, apparently, if you guys remember 2021, I know it was a long time ago, but January 6th happened then. And you had Trump having a speech. And he said, we're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. Now, 1 hour later, he had a different speech in which he said, and we will fight like hell. And so there was this massive spurg out in the liberal media, even in the United States, where they were basically saying that this expression actually means that he's planning the insurrection and he's trying to raise the troops and you're going to have fascist jackboots on the street. You remember that? Like this one, fight like hell. It's what got the liberals to go insane. In reality, it's just an American expression. It has been used by politicians on the left and on the right, and it actually means fighting in the political sense. Donald Trump used it exactly like that. Basically, like fight them in the courts, fight them with activism. That's what he was talking about. He wasn't trying to plan an insurrection. But the BBC, what they did is that they united these two public statements that were done 1 hour apart, and they made Donald Trump say, we're going to go up to the Capitol Hill and we fight like hell. And so you gotta wonder, why would they do that? Usually they weasel their way and say, well, we have a limited time frame and you know, the speech was like 2 hours long and we can only have like 5 minutes of it, and so we have to edit things out. But in this situation, like, you realize why they were editing out, especially if you look at how the BBC covered the Republican campaign. I think like the statistics show that 90% coverage was against and maybe like 10% coverage was for. So did the BBC manipulate the media in order to try to mislead the British public, in order to try to make it look as if the US president is an insurrector? And the answer is absolutely they did. And if you remember, at the time, on social media, Donald Trump got banned from every place. Like, he got banned from Facebook, YouTube, even places where he didn't have an account, like Twitch. He got banned from there as well. And on top of that, terms of service on most social media platforms were that if you denied the most sanctified election in US history, where Joe Biden won with more votes than Obama, you would get banned. And so this culture of fear and this culture of manipulation was sanctified by the mainstream media. In America, you had CNN and MSNBC and all the others, while in the United Kingdom, you had the BBC. So, does Trump have a point when he is basically saying that these people slandered me? Yes, absolutely. But here's the interesting question. Trump is in the United States, the BBC is in the UK. And so we're yet again going back to what we discussed about Ofcom, what we discussed about Australia E-Safety Commissioner, what we discussed about nation states trying to regulate the speech that happens in other nations. And this is how the BBC is planning to defend itself. They're not defending it themselves by saying, well, actually, we didn't mean it. No, they're defending themselves by saying the BBC was not airing to American citizens. And so Donald Trump couldn't have been affected by our coverage because our coverage was in the UK, and people in Florida, for instance, wouldn't have been able to see the interview. I think the Trump administration is basically saying that people in Florida could have used VPNs in order to be able to see what the BBC was saying. And so this is where the dangerous precedent is being created. Because if the international community accepts the concept that a nation state can now decide what is being said and done in another nation, and VPNs don't really matter, like how can 4chan, for instance, protect itself from Ofcom? Because the whole idea is 4chan is in the US and it should follow US legislation. Ofcom says no. British people can see 4chan, and it doesn't matter if 4chan bans Britain because British people can still use VPNs. And so 4chan needs to do robust age verification. In other words, an anonymous image board has to dox everyone that goes there. It has to now follow certain guidelines and take down hate speech and misinformation. Again, like 4chan taking down hate speech and misinformation, right? Like you ruined the website. And 4chan's argument is like, look, we're in the US. We can ban the UK, but we can't stop people using VPNs. And so Trump's lawsuit may actually affect the courts in the US. Because if the courts will say, well, actually, Trump is right. The British government did post that in the UK, and people from Florida could have used the VPN in order to see the coverage. So we're going to say that the BBC was liable. Well, then all the other lawsuits that have Kiwi Farms, I think like even Gab, many other websites, they're going to probably have their own trials affected by this. We'll see. Regarding the question, like what can the US do towards the BBC? Well, the same thing that the European Union can do towards Elon Musk. If the BBC is actually found liable, they will have to pay. If they refuse to pay, there are many agreements between nation states where a court order that's being given in Florida can then go to the British courts, and the British courts, if they recognize it as valid, can enforce it. If not, the United States can simply seize BBC assets. I think like they actually have a couple of buildings and stuff that's in the United States, and if they refuse to pay, any type of transaction, any type of bank deposit that is in the US and belongs to the BBC can be seized. But it probably won't go to that. I think like if they lose the lawsuit, they'll just pay. Anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.